Hey, well, hello everyone. We are live with Rambert Grades. It's been a while since I have done one of these, and now I'm doing one. I've missed them. I've absolutely missed them. So I'm absolutely thrilled to introduce Hannah from Rambert Grades. Now, in the background as well, we have Nicole. She's on hand to do any messages that come in as well for us. And what we're going to do is we're just going to have a little general chat about what Rambert Grades is, what it does, what it's offering, and how it can make a difference to your studios. Now, I am contemporary trained. So when I met these guys in the CYD event, we just hit it off straight away. I was like, yes, it's Rambert. I have a secret love for Rambert, going all the way back to my teenager years as well. So it was like, yay, Rambert. Right, Hannah, I'll shush. Let's get down to business. Tell us all about this. This syllabus is so amazing, guys. This is why I wanted to do this live. I'm so impressed by it. So tell us about your syllabus and what makes it so different to anything else that may be out there.
Thanks for having us, Sarah. It's really nice to join you and get a chance to chat with everybody about Rambert Grades. So we're relatively new. We had a pilot scheme, and we're really making some traction now. But it's a collaboration between Rambert School and Rambert Company. So there's like over 100 years of sort of history of contemporary dance there that we're sort of moving off the back of. And the syllabus has been created for ages, very much like other syllabi, for ages sort of 7 to 18. And then we're about to introduce something for that younger age bracket coming in the new year. But I'll focus on what we have for now, and that is this syllabus that really delves into contemporary dance. And we've broken it down into 3 structures. So we've got this strand that is technical work, and that will lead your students with a real sort of sense of an understanding of floor work and an understanding of all of the back work and that mobility and fluidity you need to find, and then some sort of strong technical leg work that can underpin those massive jumps that you want to see and fly around the space. And so we have this technical strand that feeds through. We've got a performance strand where we've been working with renowned choreographers that have made these solos for us. So we have 2 strands at the moment. Both Alessandra Suten and Hofer Schechter have made us these solos that they span grades 1 to 8. So everybody can dip in. You'd have to wait until your dancers are older to dip into that work, and they can sort of grow up, I guess, with that understanding. And then lastly, our 3rd strand is the creative. And we unpick how you might find improvisation and how you can build those skills. Because when I was younger, I didn't have that training. And then I had to learn on the job as a professional dancer later. You're going, through training, sort of degree level training as well, but you're really having to dig in and put yourself out of your comfort zone. But if I'd have grown up with that experience, it would have been really amazing. So we're trying to feed that in.
And I think going down to that, I think that's really, it's absolutely crucial for dancers these days in all styles to have that ability to just flip the switch and to improvise. And I think there's a lot of children out there who don't have that confidence to do that. And you suddenly say, just freestyle for 8 counts, and they just sort of freeze, and it's like rabbits in the headlights. And I think what I loved when I was talking to you before about this was that you guys actually help us as teachers to build that in, so that we can then support the children in those efforts.
Yeah. So the improvisation it's a group effort, right? It needs us as teachers to facilitate that in the dancers. We need to build the confidence of those young people by equipping them with skills so they know how to do it, rather than feeling like it's too much space. I don't know what to do. I've got too many choices. Mm-hmm. And then what we've done is interwoven some of that choice and decision-making quite gently into the technical material. So the creative work will blend it's got its own strand, but it also, you'll see it in moments in the technique, and you'll see it in moments in the performance, so that you're not flexing those muscles often, that you are doing that, and they're doing it without realizing, and then suddenly you can refer back to, but you just did it before, and then it grows. And we want these really confident dancers who can be technically sound to also be able to make. And I think that everybody is born with that innate creativity. And I know it. You see it in those tiny ones. They're free, and then along the way, sometimes we lose it.
I think so, absolutely. You know, as you know, and people grow up, and I think, you know, social media and opinions and other people's opinions, and you know, and COVID certainly hasn't helped. And I think coming off the back of that, I think from a confidence perspective, it's crucial for those dancers, but it's also crucial for us as teachers. You know, to go, yeah, I know, okay, I can use this, I can use that. And I think that flexibility that you have within your syllabus. And we said this when we were chatting, it's almost like we need a different word for it, because it's almost like you can't, you know, well, I grew up as an ISTD and RAD girl. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I know what syllabus is, I know what an exam is, and it's like, it's almost like in speaking to you guys, I'm like, we almost need another word for it, because it has this fluidity within it that excites me as a teacher. And I think when you really get into the bones of that, I think it'll be very different for us as teachers out there in the community leading things. So before we get to the question of the exams, because I've got to broach that, because that covers the fluidity element of it, let's talk contemporary versus lyrical. Because I've got to ask the question. We see it a lot. You know, you go to a comp and it's a contemporary competition, and it's not technically contemporary, it's more lyrical, or it's a fusion of the two. I am contemporary trained, so this is again why I'm so passionate about it. But let's just talk about, what are those differences?
So, I mean, we've got to answer it. And I think the lyrical as well, but the contemporary work, it's that we're offering within Grades, it's really derived from some of those established modern dance techniques. So from Horton and Release, Carningham and Graham. And it doesn't follow one specifically. You'll most likely, if you want to follow a contemporary pathway, you'll meet them at degree level, or you really get into your training, you'll be able to take a focused view of one or the other, or many of them. But this is a little bit of a melting pot of those modern techniques, established modern techniques that we know. There's a reference to ballet in there, but it only in the sort of technical groundwork that all dance will need. What I guess the element that makes it really contemporary for me is that space for choice, that space for individuality, that space for us to interpret a little bit, to find, encourage that individual to move with expression in their own way, in some senses,
and to find a new way of moving that works for them.
Yeah,
and their individuality. And you're right. You know, learning about, I studied Graham, Cunningham and Humphrey in uni, and it was, you know, you got taught all the tilts and everything else and all the rest. But, you know, yes, okay, I was introduced to it at college, but there was nothing before that. Yeah. And I think by giving them that added knowledge, that's so powerful. It really is.
The groundwork should be there. We often talk about some of the teachers that we've come across have made that transition from a real ballet syllabus, and they're like, I want to offer contemporary. How do I get my dancers to deal with the floor work? We've been on our legs, we haven't been on the ground. But actually that framework is really, really there. There's a scaffold that moves all the way through from 1 to 8. So we're really encouraging those teachers finding that struggle to go back to 1 and find that floor work journey for itself. And then those dancers are really equipped with that knowledge and that information moving forwards.
Yeah.
And then you get into creative and they can play and go wild and do what they, use it for themselves, which is super exciting.
Yeah. Now let's jump to exams. We talked about the fluidity earlier. When we chatted initially about this, my mouth just went, yes,
Yeah.
because you don't run exams, and this is the one we do need a different word for. I'm going to have to get out a thesaurus for you guys or something. You run them so differently, and this really excites me. So I'm going to ask you. Exams can be a little bit scary, and it can be done in quite a way, and it's quite stressful for teachers to put the timetable and da-di-da and all the rest of it together. Tell me about yours and how they are so different.
So we've thrown out the rule book a little bit, and we're offering up the opportunity to take an exam and frame it as you wish, really. So it really feels like a moment to celebrate achievement. So the exams are digital. There is no set time that you've got to complete your exam. And we don't set specific exercises. So you will have covered with your students all of the work, but actually you can have that dialogue with your students. You can pick out, I think there's a set number per exam. You can pick out some of those that you want to share with us. You then film the exam, and we'll examine, assess it. But the time frame of that is really not set, so that if it takes a couple of sessions in order for you to get all the filming together, it's not a problem. It's not a one-hit wonder moment. However, if you want to invite, if your students are thriving off that performance, get everybody in. Make it a show. Film the exam, and have that real moment of celebration where we can see that celebration. We're in the room digitally, in that space. The parents are there celebrating with you, and then you can acknowledge that those students have what they've achieved and how they've managed to do it.
This is what I loved about it. Guys, if you've got questions, by the way, Nicole is in the background ready to take any questions that you have, and I'm happy to ask them for you as well. So please, honestly, just ask away. In relation to that, that's what I loved about when you told me about those exams, and that you could actually do it as a performance. From a business perspective, you could have a separate contemporary strand and almost a separate contemporary showcase that becomes its own event within your calendar in its own right, that happens to be filmed, that happens to be their exam at the same token. And it takes out all the pressure of the the numbers and the traditional way of doing it, which is fine, and that works for all of those exam boards. But this like you say, you threw out the rule book for your grades.
For us, we totally decided that we didn't want the numbers scenario, and that space where they're feeling a little really pinned under that pressure with the timeframes. I think the three strands comes into its own in the exam setup, because you could, if you had a showcase, you can pepper that with someone's solo creative moment where they're coming together, and then the technique class. So it's not just cut and dry that it's just that technique work. I should also say, I've just seen a question here: how does the marking work in the exam? But the marking system is holistic across all three strands, within a grade. So we'll mark the creative work, the performance work, and the technical work. And so you could, like I said before, you've got those moments of creativity within the technical work. You can pick up some of your creative marks in that strand. It won't be solely in the creative strand. But we offer, so we'll receive the exams, they'll be marked by our examiners, and then we offer each individual student some sort of feedback, or actually it's generally referred to as sort of feed forward. So we offer them something that we want to celebrate, that they've done well, or something that they could look to continue working on. And so that we're creating that dialogue between students and teachers as they move forward.
So see, this is what I absolutely love. So, I mean, when we're talking about maybe putting on an extra showcase and all the rest of it, I mean, how much work would be involved for these teachers in terms of learning the new syllabi? If that's the right English for it. Forgive me. Yeah, learning it all, and then obviously they're going to have to, deliver it, whether that be, I guess, within their already, within their own timetable. They could maybe use certain weeks to deliver contemporary, so that could be maybe a mix and match class, or it could be an individual class in its own right. But how much work is involved? Because as teachers, we're already very busy.
Yep.
So yeah. So what's involved?
So we offer digital training, so you can jump and join us. I'm going to do a shout out. We've got training starting in January.
Mm-hmm.
And some early time slots. We're speaking to an Australian market as well as the UK market there. So syllabus training in January, and then some syllabus training in February. And that's much more intensive. That sits in that half term, so that you could do, I think it's 8 days straight, and you're equipped with all grades. But you also don't need to jump in and do it all. You could do it in levels. So you might decide, I'm going to start off my little ones. I'm going to go in with level 1, and I'm going to begin there. And then you can come back next year and feed in with level 2 or level 3. Mm-hmm. So there is a membership fee, like all syllabi, but I think it works out like £12 a month. It's pretty nominal. And yeah, so the time frame for the training is a little bit flexible, in senses that we offer this intensive work and a much more expanded version where you can take a little bit of time to digest the material. And then we've got some CPD coming up. So if you are joining us as a member, we're offering, at the minute, we've got a free workshop, which will dive into some of our performance work. And I think that's where you were saying how much work is involved. Like, some of that performance work has flexibility. Like, how do you fit in the competition work? And so the performance strand could be used in those competition settings. It's a solo, so it can...
it can double. So, you're maximizing
time.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, and I think that's crucial in this day and age, because it's, when you're looking at solos, duos, trios, and all the rest of it, and you've got like 29 of them, it's like, and it's a lot.
But also the creative work could feed in if you want to guide and work with them to use that creative time, and they're making their own material to make these duos and trios. Then I think there's space there for those things to exist together somewhat.
Which goes back to the, what we said earlier about the fluidity.
Yeah.
And I think that's what grabbed me when we were talking, and it really, really, the ease and
It feels crucial that you have a bit of as a teacher, a little bit of ownership over what this is for you and how this works for you and your students. And then if you've got that sense of ownership and you're able to make it work, the students feel similarly. We're encouraging them to find that individuality and to not create such rigid boundaries that they're not, that there's a total right and wrong. There's safe practice. We can't go against that. And and there are correct ways of doing things, but there might not be one look for it. Then there's a little bit of space for you to be you in that setting, doing that movement. And so that sort of parallel happens with the teachers as well, where we want them to have that space to make it work, because there's enough hoops to jump through in life.
But that is contemporary as well. That's why I love about it. It is there is no, like you say, there is no necessarily right or wrong. Yes, there is Graham technique. Yes, there is Humphrey technique. Yes, and yes, hurrah on the safeguarding and everything else that goes as a given. But contemporary comes from an inspiration, or you've got the motif, or you've got the development, or you've got the progression of that thought within movement. Look at me going for all my category while I'm at it. So it's, they work hand in hand.
Yeah.
And let's face it, Rambert, ultimately, like you say, there's 100 years of history there. The reputation, the incredible standard, it's amazing for studio owners to be associated with Rambert because it has this reputation of what it stands for, and what the work that you are producing, and the choreographers and the up and coming choreographers that you are producing through your company that have that chance to work with us, and they are the next generation of creatives. And as a studio owner, you get access to that.
Yeah. I mean, we offer some perks. I think there's a few things I can run through, but also you can contact us about if you want to hear more about those perks. But that validation and that sort of flagship nature of Rambert in the contemporary dance sphere means that there is a sense of quality, I think, that comes with that name that can help underpin any offering that you're delivering. I have a feeling I'm not sure if it's out yet, but there's a Rambert company offering a deal to members with their Rambert channel. So I will keep you posted on that. Let me see if I can find it.
That would be absolutely amazing. So, guys, give us some questions. I can ask them for Hannah. She can see all the comments anyway. We have popped, or Nicole has popped, but Nicole's chat is going into the private chat rather than the comment. So that's why I keep transferring over all the links for you guys. So ask us some questions by all means, if you've got questions for Hannah about Rambert. And let me ask one more question. The CPD, what they're doing, does this count towards their CPD for anything else? Do they get CPD points for it?
They'll definitely get CPD points for it. So the workshop, for example, would the Alessandra workshop, which is on the 4th of December.
Sunday, isn't it? 4th.
Yeah, Sunday morning. So hopefully you can escape the kids for a few hours, do some dancing, dive in. It's an hour and a half, I think, 9:30 till 11. And it's a magical chance to sort of delve into a bit of performance work. There'll be some fundamentals in there and a bit of rep that you'll get to learn and maybe inspire you ready for the next term. So finish off the term feeling a little bit fed rather than empty, which is sometimes how we can end the term.
Is that open to? Is it just for Rambert members, or is it open to anyone?
It's open to everyone. Booking is on the website, so it's open to everyone. It's free to our members, but it's I think a small fee to non-members. But please come join us. It gives you, I guess, a great chance to have a taster of what, a physical taster of what we're doing. Both the CPD workshops will go towards any CPD that you're sort of logging, but also the training would definitely link. I've got a question from Annie. Annie is asking about exams. They are accredited through Ofqual, so we are properly accredited. The level 3s they can use the UCAS points in the same way that you can with other syllabi. So it's all above board and been through stringent sort of qualification processes. So yeah, it's all.
And that's really good and very, very helpful for those older girls as well to have those UCAS points.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's proof, isn't it? Like, it's proof of their dedication and their hard work. And sometimes there's not always a framework to shout about these things. And I think that moments like that with the UCAS points allow them to say, I've been doing this.
Absolutely.
Hang on, let me read a question. Are the levels suitable for all ages, i.e. level 1, 8 to 10 years? Yes. So I would happily teach an adults class, a level 1, grade 1. It it really depends on your students and where they are in their contemporary journey and where you want to delve in. Jump in at grade 6. We don't have a you have to have done this grade before you can go to the next. That may come in the future, but right now that's not the case. Everybody's new. We want to allow that access to happen in a way that suits you. So yeah, level 1 is the guided age is about age 7, but I would happily deliver that material to an adult beginners class. And likewise, you could drop in, you might be doing grade 3 with your students, but they're a little low on the floor work element. So you can pull that material from grade 1 and speed them through to get them up to scratch in that floor work. If that's new, if that's new for you.
So they don't necessarily have to start at level 1.
No, not if they're ready.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know your students. We don't. We can guide, and you should have access to be able to sort of work out where you want to pitch things and start. Yeah, it does. Someone says it's a bit versatile, which is true. I think it has to have that versatility at the moment. So
that's what I think we were talking about, the fluidity. So thank you for bringing in another word. I couldn't think of another word. It absolutely has that versatility, that fluidity that we've been mentioning. I think that's what really excited me when we were chatting about the options are pretty much, there's nothing that's, there's nothing that's not possible, but there are so many different ways you can approach this, do this, deliver it, inclusive to absolutely, yes.
Yeah, it's really important that we operate under an inclusive lens. Mm-hmm. And I think some of that versatility and that flexibility has to happen in nature with that inclusivity, so that we're not looking for a specific look. You don't have to have that slick back hair and it has to look a certain way. If you can allow it to be individual. And I think that's got to work all the way through. There is an info session next Wednesday, 10 a.m. So if you want to come and have a listen to some of that information and ask your questions and delve into what did you mean by this, then come and join us. The link will be on the website, so you can come and join us from 10 a.m. next Wednesday. So we've got the info session and the Alessandra workshop on Sunday.
So guys, we've left a couple of dates. I've also put the website up for you as well. Any last questions for us? But we're just going to slightly recap. So obviously I've been talking to Hannah from Rambert Grades. There is an open to all workshop on the 4th of December at 9:30 till 11. Phenomenal workshop. It is free to their members, but it is open to all. So check out the information for that on the website. They have an info session about their grades. So if this has sort of sparked your interest and you're a little bit like, I think I need a little bit more info, that's the next step for you guys, that you can get all of that information. We have left there is the email there, the applications at rambertgrades.com. If you know that this is absolutely what you want, just dive on in. And there's loads of links that we've put here as well about the guide to examinations, the upcoming training, and so on and so forth. So there is lots for you to think about. I'm going to end with one quick question. If you had to pick just one part of the syllabus, what do you think is the best part?
I don't know. I think probably the creative strand. I think having a space that you can nurture choreography, creative spirit, and get a sense of how you might make movement guided by your teacher. And then the teachers can use that to create stuff for their schools. I think that's my favorite part.
It's a win-win. It's a win-win for us as teachers. It's a win for the students, and it's a win for our productivity. So it's a win-win-win. Yes. It's a triple threat in a different way. All right then, guys, we're gonna wrap this up then. It has been, oh, the cat has joined us.
Back. I've managed to hold her off for 29 minutes, but she's back. I think she's probably going to make a celebrity appearance coming back
That
around.
would be fine. All right then, guys, please go and support Rambert Grades. And if you want more information from them, all the details are there. If you're watching on replay, #replay, and I will try and tag, I'll tag Hannah or Nicole in it so they can maybe answer those questions for you. And yeah, thank you all for joining us during your lunch hour. A massive thanks to Hannah and Nicole for joining me from Rambert Grades. And thank you. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Take care. Bye.
Bye.